Senator Durbin.
Thank you, Senator Graham. Let me personally thank you for your leadership on this subcommittee. We may disagree on some things and some projects, but I believe you've been honest in working with us in the past, and I look forward to that continuing. Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you. 99-0. That's a pretty good score coming out of the Senate. I'd like to ask you about Gaza, if I can. They anticipate a famine is underway in Gaza. In the next few days, they anticipate 14,000 infants and children will die. Israel has decided to change its policy to release baby food into Gaza. I just have to ask you, as you must see the same pictures I do, you can't escape them, of these kids with pencil-thin arms, with ribs you can count, spindly legs, wide eyes, who are just on the cusp of death because of the policy of Israel in dealing with Hamas. Now, let me make it clear for the record. I support Israel. I believe what happened October 7th was an act of terrorism, unforgivable act of terrorism, and they have a right to defend themselves, period. Number two, I believe Hamas is a terrorist organization. I do not believe that every Palestinian in Gaza territory is a member of Hamas or sympathetic with that band of terrorists, but many of them are. So today, 3 countries, France, United Kingdom, and Canada, made a statement which I'd like to summarize. You probably know this already. They said the resumption of aid into Gaza by Israel wholly inadequate. The United Kingdom paused free trade talks with Israel and sanctioned Israeli settlers. And then this statement, joint message by these 3 countries, allies of the United States. If Israel does not cease the renewed military offensive and lift its restrictions on humanitarian aid, we will take further concrete action in response. Mr. Secretary, are we on the wrong side of history in watching this unfold and not responding as these 3 countries have?
Well, we're not prepared to respond the way these 3 countries have, but we are prepared to say, as we have, and I think the Israelis in their statements today acknowledged, have engaged with our Israeli partners over the weekend and the last few days about the need to resume humanitarian aid. We anticipate that those flows will increase over the next few days and weeks. It's important that that be achieved. I actually had an opportunity when I was in Rome on Sunday or Saturday to see Cindy McCain, as you know, is involved with the World Food Program, discuss their distribution systems. She outlined for me exactly how they would distribute food and how the program would work if it were to be restarted. So suffice it to say that we support 100% the fact that there can be no future in Gaza for the people of Gaza as long as Hamas is around. And by the way, in your comments that you made, I know many of you have noticed, there's been a growing number of anti-Hamas protests and demonstrations as well. So there are people there that understand that this is the root cause of it. That said, you have this acute, immediate challenge of food and aid not reaching people, and you have existing distribution systems that could get them there. So we have, and continue to work, even though I've been here in hearings all week, all day, we've continued to work with our Israeli partners and as I think they've acknowledged in the statement today that they've heard from us, to allow more aid in, because I believe they can achieve their objective of defeating Hamas while still allowing aid to enter in sufficient quantities.
I agree with you. I think what you just said should be our policy. But I don't think we should use these people, these Palestinians, particularly these children, as just a casualty of war. This is a designed attack by Israel into Gaza. This is a designed decision by Israel not to provide humanitarian aid, food, medicine, water. And we provide quite a bit of money to Israel for its own defense and for other purposes. Shouldn't we be more forthcoming to speak about this humanitarian crisis?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things that Israel has expressed, and I don't want to speak for them because they speak for often on this topic. The first is their complaints that humanitarian aid is often stolen and siphoned off by Hamas elements. Well, it has. There's no doubt that there has happened. That said, the question is whether it has to be. The question is there a way to reliably reach as many people as possible and prevent the humanitarian crisis you're describing, while not enriching Hamas or providing Hamas relief. And we believe there is a way to do it. And we want to be supportive of that way to do it. And we've encouraged them to do it in that way, and we think we've made progress.
Did you ask Cindy McCain whether Hamas was diverting food supplies from the people in Gaza?
We didn't discuss that. We talked mostly about, I wanted to get a description of what the distribution points look like. How can you get assistance to the most number of people as quickly as possible in an orderly way based on where they live and where they are in different parts of Gaza?
Is this an emergency humanitarian situation in your view?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think we all see the same images. The question that I had in my mind in meeting with her and discussing is, do we have the mechanisms in place to quickly start, if in fact an agreement could be reached to allow humanitarian aid to flow? Did we have the mechanics in place to allow the World Food Program and their contractors to go in and immediately begin to provide it? And she assured me that they do, that they could, because one of the arguments or one of the concerns that existed is that the organizations that could do the distribution were not on the ground or were not capable of starting so quickly. She assured us that they were.
If we have this in place, what are we waiting for? These children are dying.
Well, it's my understanding, again, I've been here all day, but it's my understanding that starting yesterday and moving through the next few days, aid will increasingly flow in, and hopefully that will allow these programs to work.
I certainly hope so, too. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Now recognizes Representative Keating.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will miss my seatmate, Jerry Conley. He loved sitting here, and we loved him. Secretary, in 1944, my uncle, James Arthur Keating, was serving in France, and as soldiers, his fellow soldiers were dying around him, he wrote a letter back in combat, back home, about the cost of human sacrifice and whether it was worthwhile to defend a piece of mud on the earth. Only a week after that letter, he answered that question while carrying lead in himself, as one of the people in his command was exposed and injured. He was wounded himself carrying lead and crawled out there, brought him back to safety, saved his life, and as he was going for another person, was machine gunned to death himself and killed in action. 400,000 other American families gave the same sacrifice, but the peace and prosperity that came forward in the world has never seen. It's a transatlantic alliance where our allies sacrificed their young men and women when America was attacked in 9/11, and economically, they're a $1.6 trillion trading partner with us with 16 million jobs on both sides of the continent. So my questions today are looking for clarity on where we stand with our allies and partners for more than 80 years, because they're expressing their doubts. They're expressing their doubts publicly. They've expressed it to me privately. So as the face of our country, as the lead foreign policy representative in the United States, I'm just looking for this clarity. So first, simply answer this question, if you will. Is Russia the aggressor in this Ukraine war?
Yeah, Russia invaded Ukraine.
So they are the aggressor in this war, correct?
They invaded them, yes.
Well, thank you, sir, because it's important to get this clarity, because President Donald Trump said it was Ukraine that started this war, and our allies have the right to know this. Secondly, the person we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin, is he a war criminal?
Well, I think you can look at instances that have happened there and certainly characterize them as war crimes, but our intent is to end the war.
Is he a war criminal?
We can't end the war without talking to
No,
Mr. Putin.
that's pretty simple. Is he a war criminal?
Well, that's
this man we're negotiating with, Vladimir Putin. Is he a war criminal? That's not tough.
But what? I'm trying to answer your question by telling you that we're trying to end the war here.
Go ahead.
No,
You're
it's not a
equivocating.
simple answer.
You are equivocating, sir. Just answer the question.
I'm answering your question, and the answer is that war crimes have been committed, no doubt. And who's responsible for that? There will be time and place for that accountability. But right now, the job is to end the war.
So you won't answer the question.
If we don't end the war, people are going to get
Reclaiming
killed.
my time, sir, let me go on. Because I don't understand this. Because you're sitting in front of us now as Secretary of State. It wasn't long ago that you were sitting as a senator with Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson at the time, in the exact same circumstances, only reversed. And you questioned him about Putin directing attacks against schools, markets, hospitals, playgrounds. And on top of this, in this instance, he's abducted 20,000 children, a clear war crime. So you were very clear then Vladimir Putin was a war criminal. Now he's you're unmaking him a war criminal, and you won't answer the question about the exact same circumstances.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I'm reclaiming my time, sir.
You're putting words in my
And you know
mouth.
what you said to Secretary
That's not what I
Tillerson
said.
at the end of his answer when he equivocated just as you are right now?
I've not equivocated.
You said,
You just don't let me
sure
answer.
sounds like it to me. Then I'll give you a second chance. Is Vladimir
You never gave me a
Putin
first
a war
chance.
criminal?
I already told you, war crimes have been committed.
No, you didn't tell me if
Well,
he's
I
a
can't
war
even-
criminal.
Mr. Chairman, am I allowed to answer questions?
I'm
or just
reclaiming
be
my
hectic?
time, sir, and listen,
Well,
I'm
if he
using
keeps
your own
reclaiming
words
it-
so you don't have to answer. Did you know what you said to then nominee Secretary of State Tillerson? You said you were very discouraged in his inability to accept that Putin was indeed a war criminal. Your words, we don't need any more. You're inconsistent. The third question I have, sir, is this.
I answered your question. You just don't let
You
me
did
answer.
not answer the question about Putin's
Well, you
war
keep
criminal
reclaiming your
conduct
time.
in Ukraine.
You asked me a question, then you reclaim your time. So how can I answer
You
the
answered
question?
it. Listen, let me go forward with this. 3 questions. And I'm
Or are
being
you gonna
pretty
reclaim
clear to
time
you.
on those too?
I'm giving you a chance to answer. Give me a chance to ask the question. Here it is. So there's a concern among these allies that we've had, our closest allies, about the one-sidedness of the negotiations with Russia and Ukraine.
Gentleman's
Regular
time has
order.
expired. Secretary Rubio, if you'd like to respond, by all means.
Can I reclaim my time for a few seconds? Thank you. Number one, crimes have been committed in the war on Ukraine, and there will be accountability for that. But our goal right now is to end that war, because let me tell you, every single day that that war goes on, more people are killed, more people are maimed, and frankly, more war crimes are being committed every day that the war lasts. Number one. Number two, I don't know how European allies could say that. I talk to European allies literally every single day. I see or talk to the foreign minister of the UK and France and Germany more than I see or talk to
Mr.
my own kids in some days.
Chairman,
So these are all
I'm
false
reclaiming my
allegations.
time now.
You have no time.
Because
You're not
you've given him
recognized, Mr.
time,
Keating.
and I ask unanimous
Not
consent.
recognized, Mr. Keating.
Chairman,
You're not
I'm
recognized.
asking for unanimous consent to
Mr.
put in
Keating,
the record.
you're not recognized. The
I
Secretary
am
is speaking.
asking unanimous consent to put in the record
Mr. Keating, you're not
the
recognized.
op-ed. Oh, so you're not going to recognize, Mr. Chairman?
Not
Point of order.
recognized in this
Anyone
moment.
that asks unanimous consent to put in for the record a document,
Keating,
you're not allowing
you
that?
are not recognized right now. Your time expired. You might have a minute and a few. Mr. Secretary, please continue.
The last point is, our goal is to end this war. We have to be able to talk to both
Point of
sides
order,
in order
Mr.
to do it.
Chairman.
In order to be, we have to end this
My
conflict.
time is answered. His time answering my question ended too. It's the next person's time. That's the rules in this committee. When you
Secretary,
won't even
please
let
continue.
a person enter into the record something from our ambassador till recently from Ukraine, Ambassador Brink,
Mr.
who
Keating
resigned
should-
because of the conduct
Keating,
of
you
this
should keep a
administration
better eye of the clock
after
right in front
30
of you.
years of service, sir.
You should keep a better eye of the clock in front of you. Your time expired. Continue.
Our goal is to end this war so more people don't die. And by the way, we want all those kids returned back to their homes that were kidnapped from their parents. We just want people to stop dying. Every day this war goes on, people die, things are destroyed, and lives are ruined. And we want it to stop.
Thank you, Secretary Rubio. Did you have something you want to submit for unanimous consent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now would be your opportunity.
Thank you, sir. I want to submit for the record an op-ed by Ambassador Brink from Ukraine, the regional ambassador that was close until recently, 30 years of service of Democrat presidents and
So
Republican
ordered.
ones. It's an op-ed that says
So ordered.
Trump's Ukraine
Representative Weiss is
policy,
recognized.
choice, and she details how
So
peace
ordered.
at any cost is
Take yes
appeasement,
for an
not
answer.
peace.
So
Thank
ordered.
you, sir.
Representative Weiss is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to